You know, we're wrapping sort of things up here at the United Nations General Assembly this week. There are a few more speeches over the weekend. We'll bring them to you. But I can't remember a time here, and a few of those, where actually a crisis gets worse after diplomats meet here. And that is definitely where we are with this DPRK and US war of words. US President Donald Trump finished his first week of UN diplomacy by trading insults with the DPRK's leader, Kim Jong-un. After Trump called the DPRK leader a rocket man on a suicide mission and threatened to totally destroy his country, Kim responded in kind, saying the mentally deranged behavior of the US president, openly expressing on the UN arena the unethical will to totally destroy a sovereign state, makes even those with normal thinking faculty reconsider discretion and composure. And the US leader, using his favorite form of communication, Twitter, responded. Kim Jong-un of North Korea, who's obviously a madman who doesn't mind starving or killing his people, will be tested like never before. Some fear this war of words could turn into a real war if tensions continue to mount. In his response to Trump, Kim Jong-un threatened, quote, the highest level of hardline countermeasure in history. Leaders from the UN Secretary-General to the foreign ministers of China and Russia have called for a rollback in rhetoric, but it's only continued to escalate. This week, Trump also used strong words to criticize leaders of Iran, Venezuela and Cuba. Cuba's foreign minister responded Friday, calling Trump's UN speech unacceptable and aggressive. The minister then focused on the problem of income disparity.
On Tuesday, President Donald Trump came here to convince us that one of his purposes is to promote the prosperity of nations and persons. But in the real world, the wealth owned by 8 men together is equivalent to the wealth shared by 3.6 billion human beings who make up the poorest half of humanity.
Fears are the next clash could be between Washington and Iran. Trump labeled the 2-year-old nuclear agreement an embarrassment this week and gave his strongest indication yet that the US may pull out. That could create yet another crisis. You know, a lot of Trump supporters probably thought they liked his blunt talking here. You know, sometimes the language here used at the United Nations is so diplomatic it's almost rendered meaningless. But that wasn't his audience, his core. His audience was the international community, the leaders in this hall this week. And, you know, by talking at world leaders with this sort of rhetoric rather than with them, you know, we could see Washington creating more problems for itself rather than the solutions that are so desperately needed here.
And Nathan, we're going to hear from the DPRK's foreign minister on Saturday. What do we expect to hear?
Yeah, Ri Yong-ho is going to be addressing here probably around midday on Saturday. We're probably going to hear a tough response to the rhetoric that we heard from the US president. We've already obviously heard from his boss, Kim Jong-un, in that highly personal statement we talked about in the piece here. What we're really going to be looking for, though, is any signals, and there were some in the Kim Jong-un statement, about calming down the rhetoric and moving forward into some sort of way in which Washington and Pyongyang can talk to each other, not at each other. You know, that's what Pyongyang has always said. If you treat us with respect and parity strategically, then we can sit down and talk. Washington's not taken the bait. They don't think, obviously, nuclear tests and ballistic missiles flying over their allies is a good way to start peace negotiations. But if this war of words hots up, where could it end? They have no diplomatic contact at the moment.
Yeah, you're going to have an off-ramp at some point. Thanks so much, Nathan.